Prophet Akinbodunse in December crossover service 2018-2019, he gave a word of prophecy regarding the United States of America's President Donald Trump. In his word, the prophet said he is seeing President Donald Trump facing unbearable shaking in the year 2019 that will lead into impeachment, but he will overcome it. Let's take a look at this prophecy.
The Lord said to me that President Trump will face unbearable shaking in the year 2019. A shaking that will lead into impeachment, but God said to me, He will overcome it. And God said to me, He will finish His tenure.
The prophet reiterated the prophecy of President Donald Trump's impeachment, saying that he will survive it because God is not yet done with his work through the United States of America's President Donald Trump.
Sometimes ago, I said to the church that we should pray that I saw impeachment for United States President. How many of you are aware of it? Is it happening now? But I want to tell you, he will survive it. He will what? Remember what God said is that the impeachment will come, but he will survive. It's not true. There will be narrow escape. And if care is not taken, he will go for the second time. In the very eyes of those that want to impeach him. Because God is yet to be done with him on what he wants to use him to do in this next time. When God is behind a man, you can make noise like Goliath. But you can't chase the man away. Thank God for Democrats. And thank God for Republic. But if the Republic of Heaven connected to the Republic of the Republic, they are unshakable. Hallelujah. You are here.
The 5th of February 2020, America faced its first historic vote, where Senate had to give their votes that would determine whether or not their 45th president will be removed from office on charges arising from his dealings with Ukraine.
Mr. Toomey, not guilty. Mr. Udall. Mr. Udall, guilty. Mr. Van Hollen. Mr. Van Hollen, guilty. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, guilty. Ms. Warren. Guilty. Ms. Warren, guilty. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, guilty. Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wicker, not guilty. Mr. Wyden. Mr. Wyden, guilty. Mr. Young. Mr. Young, not guilty.
This article of impeachment, 48 senators have pronounced Donald John Trump, President of the United States, guilty as charged. 52 senators have pronounced him not guilty as charged. 2/3 of the senators present not having pronounced him guilty, the Senate adjudges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the first article of impeachment.
At the end of the day, President Donald Trump was acquitted of both the charges of impeachment brought before him. He had been cleared of the impeachment, which still makes him the President of the United States of America. In Freedom for All Nations outreach, God still speaks.
In the past year, people hear the prophecy on this mountain to nations, and it happens, but they don't publicize it. They keep it within themselves. This is not good. Let us know anytime that God do something here, be a witness of it and spread it all over.